So after spending months researching, writing plans, experimenting, and painstakingly getting to a conclusion as to which console will be right for me, I've got to that conclusion. I'm going to get a PS...
You can't get a PS5.
What do you mean I can't?
They're out of stock.
What do you mean they're out of stock? I can wait.
No, they've been out of stock for like a year. And when they come back in stock, they'll sell it again immediately. Because everyone's waiting for one.
Well, why don't they make more?
They can't. There's a chip shortage. It's a whole thing.
So all the research,
Pointless.
all the plans I wrote,
Yeah, ruined.
the experiments.
Yeah, waste of time.
Likely the only console available this holiday season will be the Xbox Series S. First of all, what's the difference and why are they available but others aren't? So all of the consoles have had stock issues over the last year, but recently the Series S has been more available and has been available widely in the UK. Part of this is I think they're cheaper and easier for Microsoft to make, but also I think part of it could be because they're slightly less desirable. But why is that? And surely the price makes a difference. So here are the pros and the cons. The Series S is a much cheaper console. Here in the UK it is £250. In the US it's $299. The Xbox Series X is £200 more. That is £450. The PS5 is the same price, £450. In the US, they're both $499. So that's a massive win for the Series S. There is no disc drive on the Series S. Now, some see this as a big negative, and certainly it does make things a little bit more difficult down the road, re selling your games and looking for the best deals. But the disc drive isn't a necessity, and it's probably something you can learn to live without. I mean, look at DVDs and Blu-rays. No one has those now. We stream everything. Sam? Yeah, I have DVDs and Blu-rays. Sorry, Ken. Did anyone ask you? I actually use my console to play the DVDs and Blu-rays.
Damn it, Ken.
It's smaller. Look, whether you're a PlayStation fan or an Xbox fan, honestly, I don't really care at this point. The goal is getting a console. The PS5 looks ridiculous. It's absolutely huge. It doesn't fit anywhere, and it just looks like a Wi-Fi router on steroids. The Xbox Series X, again, it's absolutely huge.
Oh my God! Are you okay?
Oops.
And it's just a big box. Xbox Series X, putting the box back in Xbox. The Series S is actually a sensible size and shape. It's not ridiculously big like the others. It doesn't have random curves that stop you being able to lie on its side. So I mean, the specification. Now, here is where we might have some trouble. Now, I'm going to put the PS5 to one side here, and I'm going to compare the Xbox Series S with the Xbox Series X.
Round one, fight.
The Xbox's insides are different. Unlike you and I, they're not the same on the inside. There are a lot of things these consoles have in common, but there are also lots of differences. So they share the Xbox Velocity architecture, quick resume, ray tracing. But with ray tracing, which is basically how the consoles manage light and shadows and basically processing every individual ray of light. As much as both consoles support this, because there's less power in the Series S, some game developers do decide to switch it off to prioritise other things. They both have spatial sound, gaming at up to 120 FPS. And with both of them, you can play thousands of games across all of the old Xboxes. And you also have access to over 100 games if you decide to go for Xbox Game Pass. Now the differences. The first difference, the Xbox Series X does gaming at a true 4K resolution. The Xbox Series S doesn't. It only goes to 1440p. The Xbox Series X has 12 teraflops of processing power, whereas the Xbox Series S only has 4. Now granted, a lot of that power is going to be used because of the extra resolution that you're having to process in the Series X. But on the Series S, everything is going to be slightly less smooth and not run quite as nicely as the Series X. Now they both can do 8K of high dynamic range, but in the Series S, they won't have the ultra high speed HDMI cable in the box, so you have to bring your own. It will come with the Xbox Series X. And obviously it has a disk drive so you can play games from discs. You can also record your game footage at 4K at 60 FPS. And lastly, potentially one of the biggest problems, the hard drive space. Both of these consoles have solid state drives, which is brilliant. The Xbox Series X has a 1TB drive, the Series S only has half of that. And when you take into account the operating system, it's actually even less than that as well. Series X is starting to flex a bit here, isn't it? It's not necessarily the end of the world. You can get a 1TB storage extension, but that costs almost the same as another Series S. But ultimately, how much space do you need? To give you an idea, I have 5 games on the Xbox, and if I was to try and add another one, it wouldn't have enough room. And obviously some games are a lot bigger than other games. So that explains some of the physical differences, but the main difference is you can't buy an Xbox Series X. So there we go, case closed, question answered. On to the next video. Okay, so you want to know whether it's worth waiting for an Xbox Series X or a PS5? Potentially. It really depends on your personal circumstances. So no going in the comments and getting all leery and saying, oh yeah, but the Xbox Series S is obviously a lot worse, so why would you want it? Some people will want it, alright? The world doesn't always revolve around you, okay? Ultimately, I think Microsoft are onto a winner here with the Series S because it brings next-gen gaming to a casual gamer. Look, I maybe have a few hours a week to play games, so I'm not juggling between 4 or 5 different games. Really, I'm playing one at a time, maybe a second one. So hard drive space doesn't need to be big. And maybe you don't have a 4K TV, so 1440p on a Series S is going to be more than fine. Now you can get Game Pass on both of the consoles, including the Series S. So that is a winner, especially if you don't want to be investing in the newest games as soon as they come out. And technically, you only have to pay for 2 over the year. Currently, a couple of the ones I'm playing is Marvel Avengers, FIFA, and Forza. And look, obviously, there's something great about your game running incredibly smoothly and looking 100% amazing, perfectly accurate, perfectly rendered. I get that. But again, you probably need a very, very good TV to notice a lot of those things. And at the moment, if you have a budget TV, it's not worth getting the most expensive console because you're going to be wasting all of the stuff it can do. Now, there will be some of you that are certain the Series X or the PS5 is the perfect console for you. And that's cool. They are the better consoles. But if you haven't got one yet, I still believe getting the Series S will be the right choice for you too. Why? Because if you choose to wait, you're missing out on next-gen gaming entirely. Yeah, you don't have to put up with having the lower spec console, but you also don't have the higher spec console now anyway, because they're so rare. So all I'm saying is, don't miss out. Get the Series S now, and if you still want to upgrade when the better console is available, just sell the Series S then. It's not like they're not holding their value. So, will you get a Series S? Are you going to wait for a PS5 or Series X? Let me know in the comments, and click this video here to see a nice TV that would pair really well with the Xbox Series S.